It's the All Birdies No Bogeys podcast, your weekly disc golf analysis podcast right here on JomezPro. I'm your host, Brian Earhart. My co-host, Nate Perkins, joins me. We got a special guest we kind of wrangled in last minute.
Come on.
This is a big-time football and basketball commentator for CBS Sports Network, Adam Zucker, also a big disc golfer and a mover and shaker in his area. Adam, thank you so much for joining us, my friend.
Huge honor.
Yo, I was just so excited by the college football weekend started yesterday. I was so excited. What a great disc golf day this was. And from a broadcasting perspective, telecasting, whatever you want to call it, webcast, streaming, you guys were amazing today. And I was just so happy for you. And I don't want to, I'm going to give you some extra shine on this. This was a big moment for you. This became an epic. I don't care, major, world, DGPT Elite Plus. I get confused sometimes. This was like a 7-6, 7-6, 6-7, 6-7, 7-6 tennis match between the GOAT and the Kid, whatever you guys want to do with the nicknames, right? It was so amazing, and yet you guys were right there in the moment. And what an English teacher of mine said to me when I was in high school, an actor is a great actor when you forget that it's Tom Hanks in Forrest Gump or Philadelphia or Big or whatever it is. Like, I forgot it was two dudes who I text with when I was listening to this telecast today. And I just want to commend how you guys handled the big moments that you knew were going to be big, the moments where Gannon gets an eagle on what would have been an albatross when it was a par 5, the way you work a telestrator. I mean, people do seminars about this stuff in my world, and I thought you guys were just incredible. So, kudos to you, and I'm glad that just texting with you ended up having me come on here and rearranging my wall.
Well, we had to drag you on here, Adam. And for the people who maybe have seen you on TV but didn't know you were a mover and shaker in disc golf, you do a lot more than just play. Give us the quick synopsis, how you got into disc golf and then your quick career path to where you are now on CBS.
Man, so just give me an extra couple nods if I take too long, right? It all started like in Wilkes-Barre, Scranton, Pennsylvania. I was a local sportscaster. Always just played Ultimate casually, was playing Ultimate with some of the young guys at the Wilkes University campus quad. And the one guy said to me, he's like, "Hey, you throw it really far. You ever play disc golf?" I was like, "Oh yeah, we'll throw at that statue and then we'll throw at that tree." He's like, no, baskets. Next morning, I went to Effie Walter Dam, then Hickory Run, Prompton Lake eventually. And I just got super into it. I met John Dusler, who TD'd the Allentown Worlds, and we ended up doing the DVD for the Allentown Worlds in that stretch of time. Then I end up getting the job in New York. I stay in touch with everybody along the way, and I actually pulled this one out of the garage off the wall because the next year after that was Augusta, and there's another Nate who works for you who signed, oh, look at that thing morph, Nate Doss, Ken Climo, Avery Jenkins from the Augusta Worlds. I must be missing somebody on here. It's great. It's a Wraith. Yeah, I'm not allowed to throw this anymore.
06.
But I always got involved, and we did some fun Worlds DVDs in the years after that. But then whether it was like Terry and other guys, I got busy with college football season when the Worlds would be going on. So I kind of fell out with being able to be on site for Worlds. But over time, and through my time with CBS, and everybody at CBS knows I'm super into disc golf, and we joke about it, and we have our moments there. During COVID, when things really shut down for a bit, our people actually came to me and a guy from Emporia, Kansas, Brent Stover, who knew people at Emporia Country Club. And so the way the Dynamic Discs Open ended up on CBS Sports Network was kind of through us, but more because of my friend Brent. I did some front on-camera stand-ups in the backyard with a basket, got talking to Jeremy Rusko, of course, at the time, Eric McCabe, ended up on the team, and they've allowed me to help grow the sport in my area. So that's included a 9-hole temp course on our Muni ball golf course. It's included Oak Ridge Park which is just a few years old. We had Albert Tam come in for a clinic. That's his signature. So we have some great events there that raise money for tree plantings and education, concrete tee pads. Like that was a battle. Do a lot with Greystone Woods, which has been, a little bit more established. Where is that? Right there. So anyway, I have a blast doing stuff with the team and being able to, do stamp runs. Like I did these for my local courses to raise money for, new baskets, tee pads, whatever. We do glow nights and different things like that. So thank you. And that's about as quickly as I can say it all, I suppose.
Well, Adam, we're so grateful to have you on, and also, all disc golf commentators are grateful for the feedback from somebody who's been there and done that, and I genuinely appreciate you giving us any sort of insight as to what it's like to be a big time professional sports broadcaster. And in disc golf, we're all still building out the blueprint, and we're having a blast doing it. And this weekend, as you probably know, in college basketball, college football, when you have a good game, when you have a good match, there's nothing like it. It's the easiest commentary you can do.
Yeah.
And let's reflect on Idlewild quickly first, not quickly, but with FPO. We're watching an athlete in Ohn Scoggins, Nate, who I can't find a comparison to in other sports. And I'll ask both you guys this, but I'll start with you, Nate.
Yeah, I've been trying to come up with the answer because I really feel like Ohn deserves this kind of spotlight. She needs to go on like Good Morning America or something legitimately and answer like these questions of how she's able to do this, because 44 years of age to hold simultaneously the Masters title and the Open title, to me, is one of the great accomplishments that I've heard of in sports. Like coming from Laos, she's still like sending her family money from home. It's like these are the type of storylines that like other sports dream of broadcasting. And so there's been some golfers like Phil Mickelson won a major at the age of 50, right? And I can't think of anybody that holds it simultaneously, though. So I kind of think Ohn is in a league of her own a bit. And
yeah, that's a good one.
Yeah. And I don't know, Adam, can you think of anybody off the top of your head that has held two titles, one age protected and one professional at the same time?
I'm trying to think if like George Foreman or an older boxer once had some multiple titles. I think the Phil Mickelson comparison, because it took him so late into his career to win that first major, that's a good comparison as well. But I just think that golf allows, whether it's ball golf, but especially disc golf, because that's, where we all operate, there's such a mental side of it. And she plays with just such joy. She's rooting on her competitors, truly rooting on her competitors, doing it honestly. And yes, and this whole 16 cycle of birdies that was happening on that one frame was you could just see how happy she was. Everybody else was making them too. And I think her head's just in the right place for the big moments, whether that's at Worlds or even this past week.
Yeah, and I've got another question for you to follow up. You said her head's in the right place, and we've been talking about her enthusiasm. In your experience, you've been around a lot of great champions in both of the sports that you cover. How much have you been able to read that same level of enthusiasm in another great athlete, and before they even find their success, pinpoint like, hey, this person has something special about their aura and they're going to go on to be one of the greats?
I would say, I think you've made me think of Derek Jeter as you were giving that description of this type of person, where it's the body language, the way he is looking at his teammates. I think of Derek Jeter. I think of Tom Brady. I didn't go to Michigan, or I'm not from Michigan. As both as they're each. But I think of those two. And there's Tiger Woods, of course, but it's Tom Brady on the Buccaneers, especially, later on, and just being fully in charge of everything happening. Now, football, you're not going to be hugging everybody all the time, or cheering on your opponents either. But
It's like intensity there, right? It's a different kind of enthusiasm. It's like Tom has always brought this insane amount of intensity to the game. And he was just actually talking, I was telling Brian about this. He was talking about how modern sports, people are like too friendly to each other. They're almost like too friendly. And he's like, what is this? Like me and MJ and Kobe would be like rolling over, like knowing that people are so nice. So yeah, just it comes off in a different way for some of the different greats.
Yeah, I grew up around Yankees, Red Sox, and I still remember Pedro Martinez tossing Don Zimmer to the ground when he was the Yankees bench coach. He was like 60s or 70s when Pedro Martinez gave him a toss. Now Don Zimmer kind of came at him. So what are you supposed to do? Or Roger Clemens throwing the broken bat at Mike Piazza. So the idea that that when Wade Boggs became a Yankee, I was just like, what is happening here? That can't happen. Or now it's trying to think, Aroldis Chapman on the Red Sox, facing the Yankees. I mean, that's just my localized version of one of those rivalries. But I think disc golf just allows something different that maybe just goes beyond the normal sports comparison, especially with the joy that Ohn is really casting upon all of the younger players. And I think she's just kind of in this glow state. Like even if the Worlds wasn't something that she needed as a box to check on her career, she's like that shot you just showed. That's her. That's her. And like, how many of us play better when we're loose and smiling and having a good day, right? Versus tightening our jaw and leaning over too much as we are trying to putt. It's awesome to just watch you guys do it.
Well, here's what I take away from this. When Ohn is on a lead card, yes, she's cheering on her opponents, but you always bring up this element of intensity, and she does have the intensity, and her opponents feel the intensity. I've talked to other FPO players that say, yeah, she's friendly with us, but she's trying to beat us. She's trying to kick our asses. But what I like about her is kind of what I feel from what we were going to talk about with Paul this afternoon. She wants the epic battle. She wants to be in the thrill of competition. She wants to see that same sequence on 16 where her, Macy, and Rebecca jam circle two putts in each other's faces, and they're all dancing together, celebrating that they're putting on a show. And that's the job of a pro athlete. And in disc golf, you don't just get paid $1 million to show up. You get paid any sort of money, and a lot of times way less, to be an entertainer and to make people feel something when you come to their home course. And that's what Ohn did coming to Idlewild. She brought the best out of every single player that came out, and that's what disc golf is. Disc golf is a beautiful game. This is not just black or white. There is color here. We had 4 different play styles come on this lead card, and she was excited for every single one of them. And all of them were like, yeah, I'm going to bring my best stuff. I'm going to come and try to catch you. And she said, please. Like every time that we interview her when Krista was not in the field, do you remember this? She was like, well, where's Tatar? Where's Tatar?
It doesn't matter.
I want Tatar to be here. I'm lucky because she's not here. She wants the best competition because that is being present in the moment. That's enjoying what you're doing. And like you said, the enthusiasm doesn't just come from chucking the destroyer on the flex line over and over again. It comes from feeling those big swings, those big highs when she let all of that out at the World Championships and fell onto the ground. That was years and years and years building up to that moment. And that's
you think you guys would have made that putt, by the way, that she made at the end of Worlds?
Dude.
That was that yip distance. That's that distance. And,
oh my gosh.
Elevated basket? I don't know. And by the way, if I can just say one other thing, like you guys, you're watching 4 rounds a week, 3 rounds a week. Everybody's making instructional videos. I watch them. I've learned so much watching a lot of these videos that people put out over the years. Ohn is one of a kind. That's the other thing. Like that flex forehand that she's throwing or the wobbly putt. No one's doing a video on why you should do it that way. But here she is, Masters champ, Worlds champ, and throwing these wobblers and these whipping forehands.
Such a good point.
So that part's awesome too.
It is. That's such a good point. I still think that disc golf is one of those sports that kind of holds on to that a bit. Like we're still going to have like the skateboarder that's going to come in and win the tournament. Someone, Greg Barsby 2018, like not your traditional athlete going to come up and win the biggest tournament of the year. Baseball kind of reminds me of that a little bit as well. Like Tim Lincecum when he was pitching, it's like, who is this like kind of nerdy guy? And he's just like throwing heat. It's like it's got this like special sauce to it that like you said, you're just not teaching that. And there's less convergence. There's more convergence now than there ever has been on like the premium form and the MPO division and the power pocket and the brace and everything. And yet there are still so many different styles. And I don't think that will ever go away. Even with the convergence of like proper form, I still think confidence and momentum and just belief in yourself is going to be a path like to the top.
Yeah. And how about Johnny McRae, right? Like Johnny McRae's putt. That was another thing I got to witness in Augusta. In fact, I think he was the fourth guy that I should have had on my disc. And it was this famous thing that happened. He slept through the arrival time.
No way. In 06?
No.
In 06, he was late at some point. I think it was him and not Steve Rico. I'm pretty sure he was late and he had to take like an 8 on the first couple holes. And the part that he did play, he like was 14 under. It was insane. I have to go back and look, but it just dawned on me thinking of his putt, whatever, turbo putt, whatever you call it.
Yeah, the turbo.
And you make the baseball comparisons, right? Like Paul McBeth walked away from baseball and took that swing, those same biomechanics, and became, the greatest. And pitching, similar things, leg strength. So and individual styles that are there within.
Adam, we got to take it back to 06 because I was an intern at the PDGA in 2012. The fans of the show know this already. I don't shut up about it, but it was a very special time in my life. First time seeing a new state in disc golf, really. Lake Olmsted, I believe, is where you guys played, and I saw you. I've watched the 2006 Worlds. I've seen a young Adam Zucker standing there.
It's some bad TV.
Well, don't you dare say that about Disc Golf Planet. Hang on.
If you think my discs are a problem, all right, over here, this is going to get bad. Over there are my CDs and DVDs, and one of them is the DVD from that World Championship. That's somewhere at the top. Yeah. But go ahead. Sorry.
Well, I'm going to ask you a quick question about 06 Worlds, but quickly, speaking of CDs, I was telling Perkins this story, and the fans should hear this. It was one of those weird tour life moments. 2018 led Idlewild, the tournament we're talking about. Me and AJ Risley, one of our camera ops now, but one of the great entertainers and athletes in disc golf back then.
Yeah, I know that name.
We stayed together. One of my best friends still. We traveled together to Idlewild. We stayed at the same Airbnb. It was a crazy year, but on the way there, we're jamming to Michael Bolton, "When a Man Loves a Woman." We're kind of laughing, singing, like serenading each other. And then we get there to the Airbnb, and this guy, whoever's place this is, had a monster CD collection, like hundreds of CDs, CD player. We pop it open. AJ loves CDs. Michael Bolton CD that has insane. That song on it is in the CD
You're
player.
in flow. That's when you know you're in flow.
And this is the year we had crazy delays, I believe. Mm-hmm. Correct, Nate?
Every year for like 5 years straight.
And I'm on 18. Not the proudest of this, but it's not that bad. The final horn goes off. I'm with Dana Vici. We're walking up the fairway of 18. We have tap-ins left.
Mm-hmm.
We hear the siren. Dana's like, "All right, guys, we got to come back early in the morning." And my head's like, no, we're not going to do that.
Tap it in.
I give my best sales pitch. I say, "Guys, we're down the hill. It's 18. We'll just tap in. We can sleep in."
Get out of there.
Yeah.
And they did it. Not my fault. They could have said no, right? I'm not the bad guy. I'm just a good salesman.
You also save people a lot of expenses in hotels and airlines.
And that's called being a good guy.
Get out of there.
And I'm the only one in my Airbnb that week that got to sleep in. And I remember Paul was on lead card, and he had to play 35 holes of disc golf that day or something crazy like that.
I played with him.
Sorry, bud.
No, I played with him.
That was my 2018 experience, and I guess I want to jump back though because I seriously think it's awesome that you're doing this. I believe you hosted the Super Bowl at a couple years ago or something like that, Adam.
Oh, yeah. So whenever CBS has the Super Bowl, there's like James Brown, NFL Today, those guys are like the day of the Super Bowl, pregame, halftime, and postgame. But for CBS Sports Network, our cable channel, I'll go, I've been to Atlanta, Vegas, New Orleans, and we'll do a whole week of shows in whenever CBS has the game. So we were outside the Fountains of Bellagio in Vegas a couple years ago. But yes, I will be. I'll go there when we have it.
So you've done so much in sports, and you're still doing it. But you were at the 2006 World Championships calling disc golf. Just talk to us about the experience and what time of life you were in when you were there.
My wife, actually, she wasn't even my wife yet. We lost. Look, you guys are doing this professionally on a weekly basis. This was like a one-off DVD.
Mm-hmm.
And I lost money doing it because I wanted to bring my wife, get a hotel room, eat some good food. It was fantastic. It was pre-kids. We were, I think, just engaged actually in 06. So yeah, it was probably a month or two after we were engaged. And it was a blast. And the best part was all I had to do really was do the on camera with Dusler. Because John had been the TD, as I mentioned prior. Now he was our color analyst. So we did the stand-ups and we were there on site, but then we did the voiceovers for the DVD in Philadelphia in a TV booth, kind of like you guys are sitting there right now, but like weeks later after it was all edited together, and it took away a little bit of the spontaneity and what was maybe fresh in my memory. And I'm my own worst critic. To this day, like Truth Tree, unless there's something really funny that happens with me and like Aaron Taylor, BJ Rick on football, or Charles Kenny and Clark Kellogg with basketball, I have trouble going back to really watch my technique and how I called in a moment. It has to be like really funny or really exciting.
Yeah.
Otherwise, I can't even listen to my own voice. So I have tried to listen to those DVDs, and I just feel it like right here, like oh. So
did I say that? No.
And I felt like it was just a little too flat and a little too forced when I was trying to do it. And again, that was like already 8 years into being a broadcaster and not my first disc golf DVD or coverage. And that's again circling back why I thought you guys. How often are you guys next to each other calling as with Brian as play-by-play and Nate as analyst? Was this like the first time?
Well, Brian and I have done what you're just referencing, like post-production. Brian and I did that together for years. I did like
this
6 years
today.
Of it. And
this
then
was awesome.
This was only our second time in the booth. It was only our second time in the booth, but it's crazy to get that compliment from you, because in the moment we were just so grateful to be a part of it, because the show was really carrying us through it all. But we're having so much fun, like getting into the details. Like Brian and I off camera are like, all right, you're going to take this react right here. Like if Paul makes this putt, like you take this react. And then Brian's like, all right, take this call, call this Gannon shot, use the telestrator. And the way that it unfolded today was just crazy. It like the Gannon shot in particular today, like gives me the chills because we're still in a position to like really know these players' bags. Like I know almost all of the players that we're seeing on the network. I know their bags. Like they pick up this disc. I'm like, I've picked up that disc,
I heard that.
I've been there. Awesome. So he's got the two discs in his hands, and I'm like, all right, Gannon's either going to go straight FD3 or overstable FD3. And Brian's just like watching this unfold. I got the telestrator. I'm like, he should throw it. He's got to throw it right here on the screen. And then Gannon throws it, and it literally goes right into where the telestrator went. And it goes in the basket, and we're losing our minds. And then the way that the thing is when you really respect the person that you work with and you look up to the person that you work with, it's just everything syncs up, because I'm not trying to dominate the airspace. Like I'm trying to let my guy do the work, and then when he's ready to kick it to me, I'm ready for something. But the way that Brian closed out the show, like the Pablo call underneath the tree, like it's just poetry. He's a poet of disc golf, and so it's really just this crazy honor and culmination of like all the work we've done together, and we really felt it today. So I really, it means a lot that you said what you said in the opening.
First off, Nate, thank you so much. We've Adam, me and Nate have worked so hard to like get where we are.
You can hear it.
We've talked. We always talked when we were doing gatekeeping. We're like, okay, let's just keep being patient. Let's just keep going. Let's just keep doing a good job. Let's just keep doing our best. And the thing I like about commentating with you, particularly, is we will openly say you should do this better. I like when you do this. You should do this better, or say this more, or say this less.
Yeah.
And we've built this level of trust over the years to where we can give each other feedback. We don't have like a commentary analyst to say, you didn't do this, you didn't do that. Like, you know, Germ has done some live commentary, and I remember when he did it, he was like, I think he was asking me, or like, how do you think we did, or how do you think I did? And it's like, dang, like Germ, a big pillar in our sport, doesn't have someone to like analyze his stuff. And one day we'll get there, and maybe we'll just like throw you a couple bones at him and have you come in. But I want to ask you.
Wait. I just have to ask one thing before you go in. Like, was that you that played the Michael Bolton soundtrack under Nate calling the psychic moment? Like, to bring it all
together? So good. The synchronicity.
And,
go ahead, sorry.
Could have been. It was Creed all day. That was the vibe all day. All morning, Cat Merch sang Creed into the walk and talk microphone, so we made some Creed references this morning. But I want to ask you, like, how often do you have that banter with your co-commentators? Like, hey, I'm going to back off this shot. You're going to call this. Like, does that happen in a formal like broadcasting setting?
What's interesting is the big change we've had over the last couple of years, especially when we're doing highlight on the football side, or should I say the broadcast side of CBS, where we have very experienced and well-researched, knowledgeable people who are just, we've been together. Rick and BJ have been with me on the main set for over a decade. Aaron Taylor has gone and done games until last year, but he's been with us doing a show every week for, I mean, we're knocking on almost 20 years. And there is natural friendship and camaraderie. With that, there is also honesty. And what we used to do, to answer your question, right? We used to get like what's called a rundown, and it would have, games 1 through 10. And we might come on camera and comment about this game because that was impactful, or a crazy moment happened, that kind of thing. And it used to be where, okay, Aaron will join me on this highlight. BJ will join me on that highlight. Rick will join me on this highlight. What we got into, and this was really through our producer and trying to make it more conversational, was we'll roll the highlight. And if a guy throws a 60-yard touchdown and you're watching it on TV, you can probably tell that touchdown was somewhere between 55 and 65 yards. I don't need to say that it was 60 yards. I can say going deep. And Rick can talk about this play, and then BJ can come in and talk about the defensive play, and it'll make sense. But anybody can talk about anything. And if they keep talking until we roll the scoreboard afterward, that's fine too. So there's just like a comfort level to where we've broken away from the formality as much. I think what you guys are doing is really play-by-play analyst, and that's where you need a little bit more of that, air traffic control, especially because really you're both analysts, you're both reporters, and this whole gig is reps. This whole thing is reps. It's not like, well, because I can't play football, I'll be the host. I mean, you don't just get to be the host. It's a lot of reps, and you guys are making absolute magic with the limited reps that you've had in these specific roles. So like, again, today it was so conversational, and you guys weren't fighting for airtime at all. And you laid up, and I know I heard it before, and I watched it back again. In fact, you asked me if I saw it live. I had it on mute at first. I saw it go in, and then and then I saw Gannon realized it went in after the fact, and I'm like, oh my God. So I rewound it and turned the volume up, made my son pause the show we were watching. Oh yeah, oh my goodness. So here it is, right? And I explained to my son the way he angled the shot, the way it came back. And then when I rewound and watched and heard what you said and saw what you did with the telestrator, and the fact that you said, I like it, and then I love it. And in my head, I thought to myself, I want some more of it. But instead, we heard chains, and you made freaking magic on live TV or whatever you want to call
it. Yeah, dude. Oh, it was insane. It was so crazy. And I was a big high, and then I'm coming down, and we're watching Paul McBeth, Gannon Burr, and then later in the round, legitimately, it happened a second time. Kyle Klein is in a spot. He pulls out a disc that I recognize. I know exactly what it is. It's a Midnight Prowl 2. I had one in my bag for a bit. He's in a spot that I'm familiar with. And I said, this shot is going to be fun. Check this out. Kyle's going glidey mid-range. Watch it glide out. And he goes glidey mid-range around the tree, and it just glides right into the basket. And my eyes are just like popping out of my head. I'm like, this is not happening twice.
I'll tell you what, you guys, look, see, this is great production. You're talking about this stuff. Boom, we're rolling. This is awesome.
I'm like, check this out, Brian. Glidey mid-range, origin, understable. Watch it glide out.
Right over
this shot, though.
This is so gorgeous.
It was such a funny,
my gosh.
like, side note, because the battle was so intense between these guys, up and down. Gannon takes the double bogey on 13.
Yeah.
Everything's starting to swing the other way after he finally claws back.
Mm-hmm.
And then Kyle's like, I'm not playing too good. Bing!
Bink.
This whole round was yeah, I can't find a better word than magic. We used it maybe
carpet,
right at the edge of how many times we were supposed to use it.
Yeah.
But I don't even know what it is. But really, I guess we can zoom in on this round. Everybody, including Gannon, and he said it to Grant Zellner.
Yeah.
He was waiting for this.
Mm-hmm.
He said, I was on tour for 4 years. Mm-hmm. I haven't gotten to do this with the guy that set the bar for me.
Yeah.
That made it for all of us to make a living at disc golf. You know, he's one of them. Obviously can't take away from all the people before him, but Paul is the guy. And for him to finally come and bring it and make Gannon sweat a little bit, it brought the best out of everybody on the card. And we were just talking about that with Ohn. That I was trying to figure out, why is watching Paul play well so magnetic?
Yeah.
It's because the legacy's been written, and everybody on the card's like, well, yeah, I'm going to rise up to the occasion. If he's going to be in the battle, I'm going to give them my greatest stuff and be an entertainer right alongside this guy.
Yeah. And did you, Adam, by chance hear Gannon in his interview? And
fantastic.
You had mentioned tennis before. I'm a massive tennis fan, and obviously loved the big three and got to watch a lot of those matches with my dad and granddad. We watched so many Wimbledons, and I've just been obsessed with this Carlos Alcaraz, the Onyx Sinner just storyline just emerge. And it's kind of surreal that these two are taking over from the other big three. And when they interview, it blows my mind. It's like they've been trained for it or something, but with how much class, how much professionalism they have. And did you hear Gannon he kind of hit that same note? I felt like I was listening to the Onyx Center talk. He's like, he called it like he saw it, but then he also was able to give the respect for Paul. Did you happen to hear that one?
I did. I thought Grant did an amazing job also with how emotional both players had to be, especially with Paul's family there, and how close this thing was, and the role that Paul got, and the note that Gannon struck in saying, like, he was, look, you guys want great interviews, right? You want someone to be emotional. You want them to be honest. And number one thing, we're all in this together kind of deal, right? You want them to be a good sport and a great ambassador of the game. And so Gannon acknowledged that Paul got that lucky roll after Gannon said he threw the best shot anyone's ever thrown on the tee there, and acknowledged that he also had a lucky monster skip in, like that massive shot that we talked about before. So it is like that. And I think that is also a thing that comes with reps. And those tennis players, you gave me flashbacks to when we had the U.S. Open on CBS, and we used to actually not have college football for the first couple of weeks because we were wall-to-wall tennis. And when you interview Roger Federer or Rafa Nadal, like it's almost like those guys arrived by horseback. Like they're knights. Like they came in like full class, dismounted and performed, did their interview. And so today, like I was thinking, is it like Federer, Nadal, Federer, Djokovic, Alcaraz, or is it Brady, Mahomes? However you want to, no one's going to line up too perfectly in whether it's stature, personalities, this and that. But it is awesome to have like McBeth and Burr side by side like that. And it really felt down the stretch, guys. It felt like the worlds with McBeth and Conrad. Obviously, Conrad's shot was on 18 and Burr's was, earlier with that amazing skip. But I was just glued. And your guys, the work everybody does there was just so on point. The pacing was perfect. I know people talk about, who takes how long to throw the next shot. Everything just felt like a steady pulse along the way this whole round. So it was a fantastic day of disc golf. And I thought you guys were bringing me on here to talk about my win today in MA2 doubles at Camp Tecumseh, but that's cool.
Yes. Cool. Come on.
We were going to get to that, Adam.
I had no 12 idea. Down with Andrew Tavis, with my guy.
That's sick. 12. Is that best shot? Best shot dubs, 12 down?
Yeah, we're not. I mean, the best group was 14. So there were some pros. We shot like there was maybe one hole where we left a stroke out there. Otherwise, we overachieved greatly, and I was just kind of screwing around with you. Sorry.
That's fun. That's fun.
It was a lot of fun. Awesome place, Camp Tecumseh.
Big shout outs to Andrew Tavis.
Oh yeah.
Did he carry
who?
Time?
Who carried who?
You know, it's funny. We went back and thought about it. I think there was only 2 holes where one of us made all the required big shots other than like a tap in. Yeah. And he did the first hole. I did the second hole. And then after that, it was true doubles disc golf. Like he had a great groove down the middle and my drive stunk. And then my short game came through later in that hole and he made the big putt. And there's is it hole 10 there? I would never birdie it on my own. I got us way out into the open with a hatchet, and then he threw a forehand that I could never mimic and put us within about 40 feet, and he nailed the putt. It was awesome.
Andrew.
Yeah, great dude, man, and he's a TD for a lot of our stuff at Oak Ridge. Great guy, and every time he comes down the Jersey Shore, we meet up and play Doc Kramer. You ever play the Dunes? You got to play the Dunes if you're ever in South Jersey.
There.
Oh, yeah. That's a fun spot. Yeah. Spray for ticks, but great spot.
We assume that you're going to have to spray for ticks.
Dude, it's my worst nightmare. It's my worst nightmare.
Oh, man. I look all the time, and I'm going to try to come up to MVP at least like Wednesday afternoon to Friday morning before I got to come back for work. So that is, what is it, permethrin, whatever you spray?
Yes.
On your stuff. I'm already looking at my legs again now because I have to do a double check.
Well, Adam, I want to ask you, because you were there when Climo won in 06 at Lake Olmsted. You watched Climo. You've been in disc golf a long time. Climo's era started to end. You watched Paul come up. From your perspective as just a lover of this game and someone who's been in it for a long time, what is Paul's legacy? What is he leaving behind? And maybe when he first started coming around, what did you feel about him?
Well, it's funny because when he came around, maybe you could say he was like Nadal and Climo would have been Federer, whatever it was. He was the young guy and, the hair game was different. But what he's done for the sport and the fact that he continues, I was in shock, just as you guys said you were, that it was the first time he took a lead into Sunday and the first time he's won an event since 23. But what he's doing for the sport worldwide is incredible. And I mean, he was gracious enough to come on and do like a live Twitter interview with me when we were promoting CBS Sports Network, having the DDO. And so I think he got the ambassador thing down at a very young age. and he's always just stayed within himself. And he is the modern GOAT. There's no doubt. And who knows, how many titles Gannon will rack up over time. I honestly think you're going to look back at this event today. And again, I said earlier, I know it wasn't Worlds or a major and whatever. Like this felt like such a huge moment where it's that king of the mountain feeling, and he still has a spot on that throne. But I was at the thing he did in New York City with the Paul McBeth Foundation. And what he has done is just brilliant, and it's honest, and yeah, he doesn't get crazy personality wise, right? He is just, I guess to use a disc golf term, pure.
Yeah, he is pure.
Pure, man. That shot, that was incredible.
That was insane.
How long was that shot?
It's probably inside 350. Like 340 or something. So it's not really the distance. It's more the moment. And he made that slot look big, but any higher, those, there's some trees that you can kind of push through, as we know. You can push through a maple. You can't push through a cedar branch like that. You hit that, you drop to like a pretty tough 40-footer. You hit the grass, is not going to go anywhere. So he fed it through the slot, and Brian's call was crazy because it is a vintage Paul shot. He's one of the only people, we talked about style, he's one of the only people that bends that front knee to control the line and the pace. You can see him. He just and look at the follow through down into a squat. Like it couldn't even be more of a vintage Paul shape with the understable to flat. There's that bent knee right there.
He kind of pivots on the toe, and that's like the opposite of what you're taught in disc golf. Is you're taught pivot on the midfoot, hit on the heel, rotate. He has always rotated off his front toe.
Oh, I didn't even see that till now.
Oh, that fist bump was great.
I didn't see that emotion until right now. Wow.
And to keep it that low for that long, that's why I asked how long it was. Like, I know he had to feed it through those trees. And your guys' camera work is network television level. You're getting all the reaction shots, all the emotions of a sport that's so psychological. That was just such a spectacular shot for him to get the height exactly. I know we're talking about the greatest player, right? But to have the height of that shot perfect while bending your front knee, it like makes no sense to me almost.
It's all touch. It's all intuition. Yeah. It's crazy.
It's like Nate said, it's a classic Paul shot. He floats, pops the nose up, throws the understable disc, super technical, slides it under the trees. So hard to do on 18. Has Pablo in his hands.
Has enough arm strength for Pablo.
Yeah.
but
well, look at this shot. Yeah. You talked about camera work. They are crushing it. It's unreal. Look at this. What? And Hannah comes in there.
Yeah.
Oh, I was straight crying.
And I didn't know. Again, there's times of the year where, college football gets crazy on me, and basketball, March Madness, I would say I'm even more buried with stuff aside from any other private life stuff going on. So I'm not always aware of what's being said, let alone what players are up to, who's missing what and whatever, who's maybe injured or not going to Europe or is going to Europe. So I didn't know until you said on the telecast, or maybe Grant said that he was talking about spending even more time on the foundation, but wanted Pablo to see him play more. I didn't think, you take so many things for granted, and I think that includes Paul McBeth being on a course every weekend. So that's the other thing about today. It was like, remember to enjoy these great Paul McBeth moments. It was just wonderful.
So
surreal.
I agree with everything you just said, and me and Nate are still beaming from the show. I want to run a couple things by you because we are laughing after the show ended. We slammed our headsets down, we're high-fiving, we're yelling. What a great show. And we're reflecting back on some of the calls we had. All the Creed references for FPO today.
Hilarious.
When Kat told us she was seeing Creed that night.
Well, Kat sang Creed, and she didn't miss a note. Kat the merch.
Yeah, I've seen her play guitar.
Yeah, she's quite the singer, and Grant's doing the little walk and talk, on hole one. She kills it. And so everybody that's watching the network is singing Creed all day long. And Brian is sneaking these references in, like she's got her arms wide open.
That's the only one I think I would get.
Yeah, dude, it's crazy.
But then in the MPO show, I didn't really have that feeling to be like that silly. There wasn't like a dominant performance happening.
Sure.
And there also wasn't someone like Kat telling us that to give us that fuel. Nate has a really good way of like saying something that like perks my ears up a little bit. And the people were loving this one, but I wanted to like see if you had anything in your career that you've heard or seen or said yourself. On 16, Gannon hits the crazy eagle putt. I say ice right when he hits it.
Yeah.
And then Perkins goes, climate change is a hoax.
It's cold in here.
Just provocative enough. I don't think you actually believe that, but
no, yeah.
Hold on, let's see. Ice.
Global warming is a hoax. It's cold up in here, Brian.
That's hilarious.
What is the line?
Back on.
A wild statement after a huge putt from Burr. Unreal. All right. We'll cut the audio there. I didn't know what to say. In your opinion, maybe on the bigger stage, where is the line of being provocative in a call that like gets people perked up and might upset some people? Where is that line on CBS?
That line, you kind of, on CBS, you would kind of know it as you said it. But you made me think of a moment I had where we were showing after the game where Tennessee beat Alabama and they tore down the goalposts.
Yeah.
I said something about the goalposts ending up in the Tennessee River, and I had just been to Knoxville, and they did. Yeah. And so people like hit me up on Twitter, X, whatever, like, how did you know those were going to, but that's not this. That's not what you guys are talking about as far as the line. I did kind of make fun of, there were some people, it was specifically women who got stuck in the hedges, which Georgia is known for, but it was actually at Auburn when they won the Iron Bowl. And in our post-game coverage, I said something about how, like, someone needs to make sure we get the women out of the hedges. If there's one moment I would think of, it is Gary Danielson's moment. And this is going to be our last year because Gary Danielson's retiring. You guys remember the kick six, right? Where Auburn caught that.
Auburn's going to win the football game. Auburn's going to win the football game.
Yeah. Yeah. So that was, I think, the radio part of it. But Gary, in watching the replay, and you're watching, and you almost get vertigo watching the Auburn player roll down the left sideline, and you're like, where is anybody from Alabama to come to stop this? And Gary Danielson, and we were just watching this in our seminar a few weeks ago, and I could say it. I was saying it out loud before he did, but he said, "And Alabama's got nothing but fat guys on the field." and it was this like perfect moment that captured the anarchy of it and the what happened moment, the what happened part of it, while also like it's not really towing any line, but of course Alabama fan, what do you mean? But they had their kicking team on the field. They didn't have anybody to catch up to the return man. So I'm trying to think of something that maybe came out of my mouth in one of those moments. I've had my fun for sure.
Yeah. You've cracked a joke and you're like,
oh yeah, I've cracked a joke.
Is it good? Is it good?
Yeah, is it good? I had some fun. It's kind of in and out of my head. It's like I delete that file at the end of every year or something. But South Carolina, there was a kicker. Last name was Fish, and the holder was Fry. And and I think on the replay of like their 50-yarder that he hit it going into halftime, we come out of commercial with a slow-mo of it, and I said something, something about either cocktail sauce or tartar sauce. I don't know what it was, but I thought stupid, having fun, throwaway moment. And then, sure enough, this guy, Phil Mushnick, he was the TV critic who had the column in the USA Today. If you want to go look at the archives, Brian, I know you're always interested in, like, who says what about whomever. But I forget what his headline was. I think it was like, Tartar, anyone? And he wrote, Adam Zucker, keen enough to notice the fish fry combination on the South Carolina field goal. But yeah, dude, like you did like a Boom Goes the Dynamite, but it was like a legit, like, wait, what does he mean global warming's a hoax? Oh, because it's so cold. Okay.
This is the Iceman.
The Iceman. No, it was great, man.
Yeah.
It was great. It was great.
Cool.
Everything today was fantastic.
Brian's pulling up. That is what I think of. I think of that right there because I obviously have been obsessed with sports a really long time. I tried to walk on to University of Texas at Austin when Mac Brown was still the coach.
Really?
I shook Mac Brown's hand in his office, and he's like, "Look, man, you're just a little thin. You're gonna get beat up. You're never gonna play. Like you're fast enough, but it's just not gonna. It's not gonna work out. Like what? Why don't you just like focus on school?" And I'm like in his office, like almost begging him if I can be on the practice squad. But anyway, I have been just a lover of sports forever, and he's pulling up this Wikipedia. Your Wikipedia, folks.
Oh, my Wikipedia is a mess.
That is legendary. That's what I think of when I think of Adam Zucker. Is that shot right there? You're a legend. I don't know what year that is. It says 2013. Yeah, but I've been listening to your voice for years. So there's.
I wonder, is it? Am I holding a microphone that says CBS Sports Network, and do I look a little cold?
Yeah,
you look cold.
It's a sick photo.
You know what that is? Every year on CBS Sports Network, we televise the Army Navy March On and do a whole pregame leading up to Army Navy on CBS. So talk about bucket list items, right? It's in Baltimore this year, but the entire Army Corps of Cadets, the entire Navy Brigade of Midshipmen, they all come to the Army Navy game from campus and they march on and they get announced by the PA system. And maybe about a half of the ticket holders show up early enough for it because everybody's really tailgating. But it is the coolest thing to be in the tunnel when they're all coming through. And that day specifically, I don't know if you remember Ray Odierno. He was during the Persian Gulf Wars. He was the chairman. Was he chairman of the Joint Chiefs? He was definitely, the head. He was our head general, head of the Army. He grew up right around my area, and he actually wanted to play college football. Went to Army to play football, just like you wanted to play football. And he got hurt early on. And so he became a career officer. He ended up being, you could look him up. He's got stories, but he was the guy in Saddam Hussein's palace, using that as a headquarters. He was the guy hugging Trent Steelman when Steelman fumbled the ball at the end of the Army-Navy game when Army was trying to end the streak. And it was just this icy, snowy day in Philly that day that picture was taken. And so
crazy.
To be next to him, that was heady, because those were days where, like, you're sitting next to him, you're sitting next to Roger Staubach a segment or two later.
Wow.
That's
that's fire recall.
Crazy stuff.
That's fire recall. Well, we were just talking about 06. What are your memories, and like what role did you play, if any, on 2005 NCAA national championships? Vince Young, UT, USC.
Oh man,
do you remember much of Vince Young? Because that was like the guy that was like, I'm gonna go to UT. That's like, this is the team.
Yeah, that was one of the greatest finishes ever in college football, him running to that corner. But I was simply a couch spectator for that one, man.
Wow.
Because we did a lot of Army and Navy home games. We did Conference USA. Mountain West was our big thing, and that was when TCU and Utah were Mountain West. So there was one year where, like, Andy Dalton was the quarterback for TCU, Alex Smith, Utah. So these were like big years. And so Utah and TCU were both top 10. It was on CBS Sports Network. We went to the stadium and we were, live pregame and postgame for that. And then working my way up to where I was at the LSU Alabama game where it was Joe Burrow against Tua. I mean, there was double-digit NFL guys on both rosters. President Trump showed up, and it was a really funny moment because they introduced President Trump. Everybody goes nuts, and it was the next play where Tua is just kind of running to the side, and the ball just flies out of his hands, and then everybody starts booing. And it was a crazy back and forth LSU Alabama game into the 40s. And yeah, you didn't know who was going to win. Just like today in the event you guys witnessed.
Was he passing? I think was Joe Burrow passing to Justin Jefferson as well?
Well, it was Justin Jefferson.
It was Odell.
It was Terrace Marshall.
Yeah.
And oh my God, why am I blanking?
There was one more juggernaut.
No, he's passing to him today on the Bengals. Who's my guy? He's on
Jamar Chase.
Jamar Chase. He's on my fantasy team.
Yeah, dude. He's the juggernaut lineup.
Yeah, and Clyde Edwards-Helaire was their running back.
Yeah, that's wild.
And Bama had Najee Harris and 4 NFL receivers on their team. Waddle was on that team.
Yeah, I hope Miami has the comeback this year. That was sad. That was some sad offense last year.
I'm just sad for Tua. I just want Tua to be all right and healthy. He was a lot of fun to work with.
Yeah, the retirement. I felt like he should have retired after that last one. It's so dark thinking about what happens to those players when they get hit like that. It's freaky.
Yeah, when the fingers go.
Well, Adam,
no concussions in disc golf, boys.
Not yet.
No.
Not yet. No defense yet.
Not even when that guy, what was it, a spotter or a cameraman got hit in the head by a grenade?
I was right there. I was right.
That noise was horrible.
Loud. It was the loudest thing I've ever heard.
Yeah, it was rough.
By the way, I gotta show you something real quick, Nate. Just because I know you love your discs, and I throw my trilogy stuff now, but I only have one disc with which I have 2 aces, and I remember.
Come on.
I remember talking to Paul McBeth about this disc when he first left to go to Discraft. And he hadn't heard of this brand, this mold, and he probably would only use it maybe for a roller. All right. It's a 9-speed, understable, 9.6 -3.1. And let me cover my phone number here. This is the only disc with which I have 2 aces. That's the Foxhole in Perkerson Park in Atlanta and Harry Dunham Park. That's the one my son witnessed in May of 2020, 2 months into COVID. Anyway, the Discraft Heat, brother.
Yes.
Hey.
So sick.
I guess it's been replaced by my Hatchet.
Love the Heat.
No, I love the Heat.
Big fan.
Yeah, it's a good one.
Adam, thank you so much, man. I'm so happy that you got to join us for the show.
This is crazy.
I got
honor.
one last question for you. Max Kellerman was interviewed by some kid on social media, and the kid pretty much asked him, what do you want your legacy to be as a sportscaster? And all he told the kid was, I hope the fans remember me as a fan. That's my goal as a sportscaster, is to remain a fan forever. How do you resonate with that sentiment from Max Kellerman?
I hear it completely. My whole thing is be somebody that everyone wants to hang out with. I don't mean like Mr. Popular, just having fun. If I wanted to take it too seriously or talk about very serious things, I would be down the hall at CBS News, and I probably would last a week. If you have to pitch a perfect game all the time, right, and get the facts right all the time. So be someone who makes people smile. I've always enjoyed, getting a laugh out of people. I love setting my guys up and knowing kind of what you guys were feeling today in between the two of you and vibing back and forth, like having little hand signals and eye signals with my guys on the desk and making that all come together. But really just, someone who, when you hear my name, like you smirk, maybe you smile. We're in an age now where there's crazy amounts of information. We focus on the odds of something happening, even the in-game odds that are changing on the gambling front. And I get it. There's money there. There's money in fantasy. And that's also really cool and draws people in. I'm not the person to start a conversation with, hey, Michigan's favored by 27 and a half. What do you think? What's your take? Now I know that people tune in thinking, I want to read between the lines, hear what these guys say, and maybe make my wager accordingly. you know, for them, I say, hold on tight, and maybe someone will say, you're like, hey, any chance, say it's Michigan against Rutgers, right? Any chance Rutgers can keep this close? And maybe they'll give them a reason. But I don't like focusing on there from that perspective, because to me, it's about, we just had this big merger, Skydance Media taking over, merging with Paramount. And the thing I kept hearing in the message is storytelling, content, like bringing stories to people, right? And so sports can take on a mythical nature that news can't. And so we saw it today at Idlewild.
Mythical.
Mythical.
Yeah.
Mythical. So yeah, having a front seat. I know I'm going long here, but what Max
No, you're
Kellerman
not.
said was spot on. Like, yeah, I'm a fan. I mean, the first promo CSTV ever ran for me. CSTV was this channel that got bought by CBS. They made CBS Sports Network out of that. The first promo they ever did for me, if you want to have a really good laugh, is go on YouTube and just like Adam Zucker CSTV promo. And it was a little sing-song jib-jab type style deal. And it was like, Adam Zucker, he's the man, covers sports just like a fan, or whatever. It was like a little singing thing, and it's really weird. But yeah, I think that's spot on. I am not the grand authority. I feel bad that I couldn't answer some questions better, about where, who would compare to Ohn Scoggins in this moment. How do who would compare, what other duo would compare with what we're seeing with Paul and Gannon? Bob Costas would be your guy. He's one of the greats, right?
Just pull it out. He'd just pull it out.
Yeah, it's amazing. Oh,
yeah.
I'm not. I wish I also had that. One of my favorite people is the former Villanova coach, Steve Lapis. He was at UMass. He's been a few places, but he's now had a complete second golden age as an announcer. And he's on regional finals with Andrew Catalon. And he and Andrew Catalon have had some awesome moments, including when FDU beat Purdue 16 over a 1 seed. I said to Steve a couple years ago, we're like looking at this gigantic packet of notes for the teams we're about to do a triple header with, and it's like, everybody's new on these teams. I haven't even seen these guys in like recruiting rankings. I'm not going to say which teams these are. I said, Steve, we're getting to this age now with like AI and all the different technology advances. If they offered you a microchip that they could just kind of, go through your ear and stick it into your brain, and you would know everything that's in these packets, would you do it? He's like, oh yeah, absolutely. and at the time I was like, but dude, that's like so not human. And he's like, well, why are you asking me? It was just like back and forth. But now I'm there. Now I'm like, you know what? Yes, give me all of Grok and give me all of it. Like, let me
get Grok. Just
let me have it all.
To the dome.
Yeah. Let me tell you that Ohn Scoggins is really Jack Nicklaus.
Yeah. Right away. Well, I got one for him before we let him go.
Of course.
Okay. I know you're a big music guy. I know that we've got some convergence there, and I want to hear about your next show, because I went to a special one recently with my now wife, and who had just married a month ago, and we went to the Gorge Amphitheater up in Washington State. Have you heard of that?
Dude, the Gorge and Red Rocks are the two places I still haven't.
We went to the Gorge Amphitheater, and I've been to Red Rocks. I love Red Rocks. There's no denying it's one of the greats, but I felt like the expansive view at the Gorge Amphitheater was like nothing else I've ever seen for a music venue. And we saw this is a one-day ticket. One-day ticket. It was Bob Dylan, Willie Nelson, Billy Strings, Lake Street Dive, and Sierra Hull. It was $80. It was $80. We drove the 5 hours up there.
That's it?
That was it, dude. And we were there
Wow, that's
all day
amazing.
long. We saw Bob Dylan, who we watched the doc of the Gorge Amphitheater, and Bob Dylan was the one who actually like launched that place. He came up there to play when it was like still a winery, and it like blew up in the '80s. So it was crazy to see him there. But I wanted to hear what your next show that you're looking forward to is.
Man, so I just recently, like, I see fish a lot. I see fish
Yeah,
almost every time they come through. Um, and through the years, that was really with college friends. I tried getting my wife into them. She's just not super into fish, and I totally get it. I think it's like really almost like a brain thing. My daughter's into them, my son's not. Uh, but so so what happened though was that these fish shows, and I believe me, I do everything I can to get to the ones I can. Typically, CBS has the Sun Bowl, and my tradition, because I won't go New Year's Eve. New Year's Eve, we're with each other at home and with friends, close friends, and keep an eye on our kids who are 16 and 13, right? So uh, I typically go to the fish show at MSG December 30th or the 29th, and the move is
sweet.
we carry the Sun Bowl on CBS, and then I just jump in a car and meet my wife who comes in with our friends, and we go to the same restaurant every year and we see fish at MSG every year. But what's been magical is, and this kind of goes along with Michael Bolton meets Nate's call of Gannon skipping. Okay, I took my daughter to a the special charity show that Fish did up in Saratoga, which is really East Coast, my number one place to see a concert. It's a magical spot. There's mineral springs all around. I mean, it's a beautiful town. Um, I sprang for this VIP package. It's the only time I've ever done this, and because I had my daughter with me, and it included Trey and Paige acoustic in a little shed for like 200 people. Crazy vegan healthy catering plus Alchemist Brewing Company and Ben and Jerry's all under a tent, and my daughter was in heaven and I was in heaven, and they had Death Wish coffee, which is amazing, by the way. Anyway, the tickets were also fantastic, so we were probably 12th row. My daughter doesn't know a ton of songs, but her favorite Fish song is The Wedge. And like any kid, she has her own made up lyrics. And her lyrics for the chorus are take the highway to the bridge and beyond. I don't know why, instead of take the highway to the Great Divide. And during the picking part of the concert, there was this awesome couple in front of us. And I'm sorry, this is going to go a while. Um, there's this awesome couple in front of us, and they thought it was just great that I had my daughter there. They even encouraged the kids to go sit right in front of Trey and Paige, right up at the stage. And my daughter wanted to just stay with me. And I was like, okay, but like, you should really go up there and take my phone.
Yeah.
uh, but they asked her, is there a song you want to hear tonight? And she's like, take the highway to the bridge and beyond. And I'd never corrected her about the lyrics. I had never corrected her. And they're like, "Oh, the wedge. Yeah, cool."
No.
Yeah, so they knew what she was talking about because she said take the highway. So we go into the show, and it's not a song that's played too often. But I can't remember now, first set, second set. All of a sudden they come out of one tune and I hear and I turn to her and she hasn't realized it yet. And I look, and in the row and back of us, they're there, and they're just like, it's the wedge. And one of my favorite videos ever is of my daughter like jamming out to the wedge. Fast forward, I go to the Sphere the next year for their opening show at the Sphere, and directly in front of me, the same couple, and they
No.
see me behind them, and they're like, Adam, whoa, like, the Sphere is huge.
Yeah.
They're right in front of me again, just like they were at the picking shed, and they were behind me during the concert. They're like, we were so happy for Sophie that she heard the wedge. Like, it was such a big deal, you know? So that moment with her, I took her to the Woodstock show the next year where they played Bethel Woods. So that was those were peak moments to take my daughter. Yeah. So
On
my
another
next show, to answer your actual question though, sorry, my next show is you remember the Beacon Jams that Trey did during COVID? Those were really emotional times for
The
people.
Beacon Theater in New York.
Yeah, the Beacon Jams, and it was Trey, empty theater, sometimes with the Rescue Squad strings, sometimes with the rest of the Trey Anastasio band, Tony Marcalis, who's passed away now, and people were writing in on is it Stitch? What is it called? Where people are like writing in constant Twitch. Thank you. See, we need the young guy.
I got you.
Thank you. His daughter was like moderating, and so Trey was reading them live during the show. And there were people requesting songs and talking about the trouble they were having and what they just got through emotionally also. So I remember walking my dog down the shore and listening to those Beacon Jams over and over again. The song Winter Queen and Silver Light. And really, oh man, What's the Use? Get a chance, listen to What's the Use from the Beacon Jams. So they announced that Trey Anastasio Band is going to play the Beacon, and they're going to do like the Beacon Jam style sets.
All right.
And Ticketmaster, I still have the picture on my phone. I went online to get tickets to the show I knew I could go to with my schedule, and I was number 31,000 in the queue. So
Unreal.
I did a thing, and I went to the aftermarket because I guess there were like artist release tickets first, and people put them online for resale. So I did spring to get in for one of those shows, and
Let's
we're
go.
gonna go. So that is a very long answer to what concert is next.
Such a good story.
Oh
wow.
yeah,
Thanks
sorry,
for sharing
man.
that.
And
Thanks for sharing that.
And I did recently see String Cheese Incident for the first time in forever.
Sweet.
And
love them.
Took a few of my disc golf buddies, Stephen Mitchell especially. He's the one who told me, hey, String Cheese Incident's playing Newark. We got to try to go. And we had a great time. Those guys, I mean, that's a West Coast band, mountain band, really. And they don't come east too often. And so to see them was so meaningful for me. I also saw Goose recently. I saw their first MSG headlining show where they went 4.5 hours. That was incredible.
Wow.
And I got another group for you, very young, just starting out. They happened to play my hometown of Mountain Lakes. We have a couple little beaches in the town. And my buddy Laz, in fact, do I have it here? Oh yeah, here. One of my favorite runs of discs. I donated a whole run of discs to Mountain Lakes High School to start like a little program with the phys ed deal.
Nice.
Sweet. Yeah, so sapphires and putters and stuff like that. The band is called Pythagoras. It's 5 young kids, early 20s, bluegrass. And they played, I'll text it to you guys. They played the Eagles, that Peaceful, Easy Feeling. Oh man, they're really good. So they're worth checking out. It was Pythagoras. They were on their way to the Gray Fox Bluegrass Festival in New York State, and stopped in Mountain Lakes for a little gig. So that's my next concert. That's my previous concert. That's all my other Fish concerts.
Strike a note.
I'm so sorry. Yeah, you struck the whole band up. I got the whole wall of CDs over here, man. I'm sorry.
No, it's great. Don't apologize, man. This is gold. We're so grateful to have you on.
Folks, if you have any more questions for me, Perkins, the DGN crew, Adam Zucker, just send us an email, abnbpod@gmail.com.
We've been responding.
Hey, we're
quickly.
good at it. Come on. Send us an email.
Yeah.
Unbelievable show. Adam, thank you so much for joining us. And for Brian Earhart, Nate Perkins, Adam Zucker, Jeffrey Tosi behind the screen producing this show. All Birdies No Bogeys is done for the week, but we'll see you next week. Bye.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Here, the Glow one is straighter. This Horizon one is more overstable. Needs it to have a little chop if he goes with that one. So he puts it down. I'm like, going more overstable. So I want to see it with a little bit of chop. I like it. I love it. Oh! It's unreal! The shot of the tournament for Gannon Burr. A mind's eye shape.